Game of Thrones Season 4, Episode 8, The Mountain and the Viper. It's been a week since it's aired, though it does feel like 100 years at this point. If you haven't had it spoiled for you yet, I wouldn't recommend watching this video. This video will have spoilers. I don't really, do TV show reviews like episode per episode or any kind of thing like that. I find it, tedious and exhausting, especially when the show is exhausting enough, though not tedious, I must say. I had some things to say about this episode and, the new episode that will be airing tonight. Of course, a lot of things happened in this episode. We had a very eventful 50 odd minutes in this episode, The Mountain and Viper. Oh, geez, we had Jorah's betrayal to Khaleesi, to Daenerys, has been unearthed and he's been banished. That was quite something. Grey Worm's Tom Peepery has been exposed, which raises the question: do they take the stone and the pillars when they castrate the Unsullied? It's worth looking into, which we may see at some point. Ramsay Bolton, no longer Ramsay Snow, his rise to power, and the continued allegiance of Reek, formerly Theon Greyjoy, and Alfie Allen's performance has been quite good in the transition. Pretty stunning, I think. Very underrated performance in a show that just has great performance after great performance after great performance. But this one kind of gets left out of mention, I think. So shout out to Alfie Allen, who's been just killing it. Lots of stuff. But of course, I mean, this has been the most talked about episode probably since the Red Wedding, because the most devastating moments tend to be the most talked about. The actual trial by jury with Prince Oberyn Martell of Dorne fighting the Mountain. Didn't work out. We're all rooting for you, Obi. Didn't work out, which was sad. Which we should come to expect from this show. But, at the same time, this show, because it does go against certain, conventions, you almost don't know what to expect. Because at the same time, I remember when the season began, there was that scene with Arian and or Arya, I should say, and the Hound in the tavern getting in the fight over chicken. And I thought, oh, there's no way he's going to win this fight. They're going to devastate us. Episode 1. And kill off the Hound, leave Arya out on her own once more. But no, I mean, he proved to be a badass, and he fucked shit up. So, I mean, that was pretty cool. Maybe it's about, the Clegane brothers who, they just have something about them that they cannot be beat, apparently. But anyway, trial by combat, of course, Tyrion, this whole season, just death has been looming over him in such trouble for a crime he didn't commit, though he admits he in hindsight, maybe he would have liked to have committed it. So, finally, the episode prior, he pretty much breaks, and he demands a trial by combat. Great moment. Great acting by Dinklage. Emmy in his pocket, I swear to God. And kind of unexpectedly, the visitor to King's Landing, this mysterious Prince Oberyn of Dorne, he comes in. And I remember at the start of the season, because I am not one who has read the books, at least not all the way through. I'm afraid to. I sincerely am. I didn't know really what to make of this guy. Should I like him? Is he a danger to the Lannisters? Which, if he were, is that a good thing? I mean, how much am I really invested in the Lannisters other than Tyrion? Maybe Jaime, but, shades of gray. Shades of gray. The whole family. Fucked up family. So I wasn't quite sure, but as each episode kind of came, he became such a great presence on this show. I was like, where was this guy this whole time? We needed this guy. He brings a flavor to the show, and Pedro Pascal's performance, just wonderful. And by all accounts I've heard, he really has done the character from the books justice. So I mean, really, really. And where was this guy? Where has he been? Pedro Pascal. I looked up I remember this after the first episode that he was in. I was like, this guy kind of seems familiar. Like this guy's good. Where have I seen this guy before? And I looked up and I saw stuff like, I don't know, like Burn Notice and one episode of Buffy. Not too much. Apparently, he is kind of more of a stage actor. I think he's doing Much Ado About Nothing currently. He's probably on stage right now, a week after being defeated. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, where was this guy? Where was this great actor with such passion and such theatricality? So fantastic has he been. And so after the trial by combat, Tyrion has had enough. Of course, he's like, this game is fixed. He knows it, so he takes matters into his own hands, sort of, and demands this trial by combat, thinking, maybe Bronn, my buddy, he's gonna step up, but no, he's too smart for that when it comes to the big fucking mountain. So much there, and he has it pretty good, and he's not going to mess it up as much as he likes Tyrion, and Tyrion understands that too, which is kind of the touching moment between them, where you're just like, yeah, can't really blame the guy, but I feel bad for Tyrion. You think maybe Jaime, I mean, that'd be a great way to piss off Daddy, have him either free Tyrion or die trying to free Tyrion in the trial by combat. So but you got to hand it to him. The hand thing, it's not good. So he'd pretty much be going out to die himself. So there's that. And then unexpectedly, in this beautiful, beautiful speech that Prince Oberyn he gives to Tyrion about meeting him when he was just a little baby. Such a wonderful speech. And he raises the lantern. And he's like, I will be your champion. And it was like, yeah. And then, it was 2 weeks before the next episode airs, so, we're just waiting. Then this trial by combat happens, and you see this guy. He's, fucking amazing, and he's cocky, and it's like, why don't you wear a helmet? Are you fucking drinking? Are you seriously drinking, man? Where's your armor? I like to move around. What do you want? Just whatever, so cocky. Are you really gonna fight that man? No, I'm gonna kill that man. So good. And, just very reminiscent, and apparently, it's been confirmed that the inspiration is from Ignito Montoya from Princess Bride. So kind of like that, my name is Ignito Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. Meanwhile, Oberyn is like, Elia Montoya, you killed her, you raped her, you killed their children, or say her name, who gave you the order? So good. And, you don't know what to expect, but he's doing really good. And kind of what I was thinking in my head as this was going on, I did sincerely, okay, I mean, I know you shouldn't expect things to be hopeful in Game of Thrones, or Song of Ice and Fire, whatever. I thought it was somewhat moving beyond just the actual physical battle. He was, in essence, battling the Lannister dynasty, and it was a very cathartic moment for him. So I thought it was going to be overkill, which is what I thought it was going to be. He had him. He was monologuing, and he was overkilling. And again, he's just like, you raped her, you murdered her, you killed her children. I was feeling really emotional for this character, and how he did so much, love his sister. Now she's dead, and he wants justice. He came to the wrong place, but he wants justice. But I thought it was more about that, more about revealing this part of the character that's been truly tortured. And even if he kills this guy, even if he kills every Lannister, it's not going to bring his sister back, which, I felt emotional about, which I thought would be kind of the tipping point, the theme to this battle. So I felt emotionally invested in that sense. Well, you know what happens. Knocks his leg over, teeth come out. You know what happens. And it, I just shit, man. It's bad. Seemingly every season of this show, there comes an episode in a moment where I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this show. I can't be so invested and have all these horrible things happen. And part of it is that's why I like the show too. You expect the unexpected, going against convention. Last year, the Red Wedding, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Because, I mean, we like to, watch fantasy and fiction, and, see certain windows into the world that do reflect our reality, but do have kind of a based in kind of schematic of how a story should be told, what we feel is right, what should happen to characters. Never clear with this show, because no character, you can never point to any character, even Ned Stark, even Jon Snow. You can't point to them and say that's the hero. Can't really do that. Even Daenerys, you can't do that. So it's something different, this show, which is why it's such a unique show and why it's such a special show. But at the same time, it's like, that's why there are people who won't watch the news. I don't want to be assaulted with this harsh reality. In the words of Michael Stipe, it's been a bad day. Please don't take a picture. So kind of like that. You don't want to be so devastated all the time. Reality is harsh enough. Can't we have a little nice fantasy? Not so. Would it have been so bad if you would have won, Oberyn? We were rooting for you. You were the champion, Oberyn. You were the champion. And now Tyrion, he's been sentenced to death. Even though, I was kind of thinking, like, and I read up on other reactions of this episode that other people were kind of jotting down their frame of mind, like, during every second. Which I find more interesting than the fucking asshole who has read the books, putting his little iPhone up to his friend. He's like, I'm gonna watch him go, ah. No, it's more than that. But like the mind, and I felt this too. It's like, okay, first, okay, oh no, no. He's been knocked out, okay, but his teeth are knocked out. He can still get out of this. Split second in your head, you're thinking that. Eyes are gouged out. Okay, he will be blind. He will be okay. Whatever. He will be okay. Then after that, not so much. But it was interesting that other people kind of were thinking that, because that's what's kind of like almost not like literally, not like saying that out loud, but that's kind of what you're thinking in your head when that was happening. At least me and some other people whose opinions and reactions of this episode I've read. So there is that. So yeah. But anyway, what was I saying? Anyway, I mean, kind of the torturous thing about this show, on each side of things, like on someone who has read the books, part of it is like up to a point, they know what's gonna happen. They know what's happening. They're like, oh my god, is this really gonna happen? Some people even said, I can't. I read the first two books, but some people have been like, well, things have been changed in this show. It's not too uncommon that they change certain things, certain fates of characters. So that could very well be the case. Things could change. But a lot of it is just dreading what's to come, knowing what's coming, and having to live through it again in the form of this show. But on the side of, as someone who has not read the books, well, not at least not into new territory in the books. It's not a book reader of the Song of Ice and Fire series. Part of it is just like wondering what's going to happen next, speculation. And so, I was kind of wondering, okay, so what if he wins? What does this mean? And part of me was even kind of thinking, okay, well, they're both dead. This is kind of a draw. So are they really gonna, Tywin, he was kind of quick to jump up there. I sentence you to death. The gods have made their will known. A little quick to judge that. I don't really know if the Mountain really is dead. He seems like he is. I mean, doesn't he? I don't know. Whatever. But part of me was kind of thinking, well, if they base it on a draw, like, what exactly is going to happen? Are they going to check their pulses? Be like, okay, whoever died first, that's the loser. So, I mean, technically, Master Pycelle, he could walk up to Oberyn's dead body, see, like, his hand twitching or something, be like, oh, still alive. There you go, Tyrion. And then, like, Shay comes up and says, oh, sorry, they're forcing me to say those things. I love you, Tyrion. And then they hug and kiss, and, Simply the Best starts playing, like in that video. You saw that video, the denial version. Is that so bad? I don't know. Not in this kind of... Okay, whatever. But, I mean, okay, thinking ahead, what does this mean? What does, what did really Joffrey's death mean? I mean, people hated the little shit, but his death has certain repercussions to it. One being, of course, if George, if he can't get you to care about, the politics of Westeros alone, he can damn well get you to worry about a character that you're invested in. In this case, it is Tyrion, so he's directly put him in danger as a direct repercussion of Joffrey's death. Even though we know, of course, he's innocent, and whatever, the fight is fixed. So, I mean, there's that. But thinking ahead, what kind of repercussions does this have? Okay. Oberyn, the guy's a fucking prince of Dorne. Like, he may as well have been murdered by the Lannisters, don't you think? Like, so what if he did this of his own free will? Wouldn't that have repercussions? Like, was he sign a waiver? I don't know. I hereby, waive all responsibility to the Lannisters and any, whatever. No, I don't think so. And you would think, that would be something that the Lannisters, specifically Tywin, would take into consideration, that there would be repercussions by, the Dorne, next of kin. Cersei's daughter is with them. You really think, okay, yeah, you guys killed our prince. You think they're going to be like, oh, well, it was his choice. He fought. No, I don't think that. So, I mean, something's got to go down. Especially since there's 2 more episodes left. The next episode airs tonight. I have this video uploaded. Still going to be uncharted waters. Bring me my brown pants. But, something's got to come of that. Something bigger. And, if Oberyn has died a martyr, then I mean, in his way, he would get the revenge, the dead Lannisters that he would so want, and so would Tyrion. So I mean, as I'm doing this video, Tyrion, he's still alive. He's still alive in the world of the show Game of Thrones. There's still hope for him. I think a sign of a good writer, like George is, he can go against convention, and he most fucking definitely did, with the fight, the trial by combat with the Viper in the mountain, especially making you think, oh, everything's gonna be okay, don't worry about it. Have you not been paying attention? But anyway, easing you into that feeling once more of that everything's gonna be okay. But I mean, for one thing, it's easy to get a character into danger, which, well, I wouldn't say easy, but I mean, it's one thing to get a character into danger, but another thing, a very clever thing to get them out of it, I think. There's so many stories that we've seen, movies, TV, where you kind of know going into it, this character, I don't really see any other way of them getting out than dying. But there's something, about the fantasy adventure genre, which even though Game of Thrones does it differently, it still is a part of that genre, about putting a character into a situation and getting them out. You know, like it requires a certain amount of craft, I would think. Not like Indiana Jones. He goes into a 50s testing facility for the H bomb, gets into a fridge. The other George, thanks. But I mean, so just because death has been looming so closely over Tyrion this whole season, uh, like the second they're all looking at him saying, you did this to Joffrey. You're thinking, this guy's dead. How is he going to get out of this? And in part of it, you're thinking, okay, maybe the trial will go okay. Maybe the trial by combat would go okay. So that's not working. Is that really it? Does that mean when Oberyn has died, when he's dead, does that mean Tyrion's dead too? Maybe it does. I have to be prepared for it. I really do. I love Tyrion. Favorite character on the show, probably. Maybe him, Oberyn for sure. Though he's only been 7 episodes, made such an impact on this series as a whole. The series could go on for 10, 11, 12 seasons. Oberyn's impression will last, I assure you. But I mean, Tyrion, since the very beginning, I mean, he's been a fan favorite. So I mean, we people who haven't read the book don't know what's going to happen. We have to be prepared that maybe the next episode, next 2 episodes, that's going to be it. I would hate for him to go out this way, broken-hearted, completely abandoned. But that seems like it's in the cards, and it would make sense if this was it for him, because in a strange and unexpected way. I mean, his death would definitely reflect upon Oberyn's death, because not really knowing it, I think him and Oberyn, they are very much alike, very much. I would think that if everything remained the same, if Tyrion were exactly the same as he is, but had he been born a Dorne man, he would have been quite a bit like Oberyn. As we learn from what Oberyn has said of Dorne, and how they're more progressive. They value liberal thinking, I guess. He would have been recognized as someone more innovative. And that's one thing about Tyrion. For all that he did for King's Landing, completely just swept under the rug. And I think that in part of everything else, that's kind of what has just broken him so much. But if he had been a Dornish man, he would have had so much value. They would have recognized the value that he had, and who knows what he could have accomplished. So they are kind of brothers in a way, that they share the enthusiasm for dead Lannisters, and so they can share in that enthusiasm beyond the grave. So maybe that's that, but it would have a poetic ring to it. It would not be in vain. And he says himself, if I had enough poison for you all to swallow it, I would gladly die. So in a sense, if there is going to be a huge thing, if next episode, next 2 episodes, Dornish armies sweeping King's Landing, massacring, which I was kind of thinking, because when Bran, he sees that premonition, I could have sworn, you saw like a dragon. I thought that's kind of where it was going, but maybe it was the Dorne. Maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe Targaryens, Martells, they're going to team up and fuck up the Lannisters, which would make sense. But whatever. And there's that speech that he gives about Cousin Orson smashing the cockroaches, which kind of is open for discussion. What the meaning behind that was. If that's the last conversation that he would have with his brother, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean how the gods determining fate seems much like a Neanderthal, an idiot, just smashing bugs, or kind of what I thought. Maybe not in a explicit way. He was kind of asking him, hey, I'm your brother. Why have you been like this to me my whole life? Why do you see me as beneath you? Why must you crush this rock on me? So maybe that was why he, said that to his brother in their final moments together. But, I like to think myself as an optimist. Maybe there will be some clever writing. Maybe there will be a way that Tyrion can get out of this somehow. You know, who knows? But as I do this video, Tyrion is still alive. There is still hope. There's another episode tonight I will be watching. That's my rambling for today. I don't know where I was going with all that. I feel very emotional right now. I think about what's going to happen next, and I feel sick. I don't want, if something bad is to happen, to happen. If something good happens, then great. Cut us a break, George. But yeah, okay, please. If you've read the books, please don't comment and tell me what happens. Please, I beg of you. Because I like to watch a show on its own merits. Maybe, I will just, break and have to read the books. But I kind of like where I'm at right now, wondering what's going to happen next. But whatever. Great show, Game of Thrones. Fantastic show. One of the best shows. They're going to air episode 10 in theaters in Canada, which I'm very excited for. I'm going to try and get tickets. That would be amazing. I love it. But I love the show. Great show. Fantastic show. One of the best shows to ever hit the air. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. And, yeah, good luck tonight.